Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Curious Minds. I'm your host, Daniel.
And I'm Naomi. Thank you for joining in again. It's great to have you with us.
Today, we are tackling a topic that is, without a doubt, one of the most talked about and transformative technologies of our time. It's a term that's everywhere, in the news, on our social media feeds, in the movies we watch. It's surrounded by hype, excitement, and a fair bit of fear. It promises to change the world, and in many ways, it already has. Yet for many people, it still feels a little bit like science fiction, a complex and intimidating concept. So our goal today is to demystify it.
That's so true. It sounds futuristic, but it's already here. So today we're asking the big question, what is artificial intelligence?
Exactly. And to get started, let's bring it down to earth. Because AI isn't some far-off concept for the future. It's already here, working quietly in the background of our lives, in ways we often don't even realize. Naomi, think about your morning. Did you happen to ask your phone for the weather or check your GPS for the fastest route to the studio? A route that changed in real time based on traffic data? Maybe you scrolled through a news feed on your phone and it showed you stories it thought you'd be interested in? Or perhaps you asked a smart speaker to play a podcast. Like this one?
I absolutely did. I asked my phone for the traffic report, and it saved me from a major backup on the freeway.
Okay, and what about last night? Did you maybe scroll through Netflix or another streaming service?
Of course. And it suggested a new documentary that I probably wouldn't have found on my own, and it was fantastic.
Well, there you have it. You've already used AI multiple times in the last 24 hours. Those voice assistants, the traffic predictions, the show recommendations, even this podcast. That's all powered by artificial intelligence.
And that's the perfect way to get into this. AI isn't just about futuristic robots. It's a technology that's already woven into the fabric of our daily lives, often in ways we don't even notice.
So let's get a simple definition down. What is AI really?
At its most basic level, artificial intelligence is a field of computer science focused on creating systems that can perform tasks that would typically require human intelligence.
Right. So things like learning from experience, solving problems, understanding language, or recognizing objects and faces in a photo.
Exactly. The key goal is to simulate human intelligence in machines, not necessarily to create a conscious being. It's about building tools that can reason and act.
That's a really important distinction. It's less about C-3PO and more about smart software. So what are the fundamental differences between this kind of intelligence and our own? And this idea has been around for longer than you might think. We can trace the theoretical groundwork back to the 1950s, with pioneers like Alan Turing. He proposed the famous Turing test to determine if a machine could exhibit intelligent behavior, indistinguishable from that of a human. The term artificial intelligence was actually coined in 1956 at a conference at Dartmouth College. The field has had its ups and downs since then, periods of great optimism followed by AI winters where funding dried up. But the explosion in computing power and the availability of vast amounts of data in recent years have led to the incredible progress we see today.
Well, the biggest one is probably consciousness and emotion. Humans have subjective experiences. We feel joy, sadness, anger. AI doesn't feel anything. It processes data.
So an AI can analyze a million love songs and write a new one that follows all the patterns to sound romantic, but it has no understanding or feeling of what love actually is.
Precisely. It's all pattern recognition. Another key difference is generality. Humans have what we call general intelligence. We can learn to cook, then learn to ski, then discuss philosophy. We can transfer knowledge between different domains.
Right, but most AI we have today is what's known as narrow AI. It's incredibly good, sometimes even better than humans, but only at one specific task.
That's a great point. The AI that can beat the world champion at the game of Go can't tell you if a picture is of a cat or a dog, let alone drive a car. It's highly specialized.
That specialization is what defines the current era of AI. And it's a crucial distinction to make. The ultimate goal for some researchers, the holy grail of the field, is to create what's called artificial general intelligence, or AGI. This would be an AI with the ability to understand, learn, and apply knowledge across a wide range of tasks, much like a human being. An AGI could, in theory, learn to play Go, then write a symphony, then design a bridge. But we are still a very, very long way from that. It remains firmly in the realm of science fiction for now. For today, the magic that makes narrow AI so powerful is a concept we hear about all the time: machine learning. Can you break that down for us?
Absolutely. Machine learning is a core part of modern AI. Think about it like this. In traditional computer programming, a person has to write out every single rule for the computer to follow.
Like, if the user clicks this button, then show them this picture. Very explicit instructions.
Exactly. With machine learning, you flip that around. Instead of giving the computer the rules, you give it a massive amount of data and let it figure out the rules for itself by identifying patterns.
So, back to the cat example. Instead of trying to program the rules for what a cat looks like, pointy ears, whiskers, a tail, you just feed the machine learning model hundreds of thousands of pictures labeled cat.
And over time, it learns the underlying patterns of catness all by itself. This is how the Netflix recommendation engine works. It doesn't have a rule that says people who like sci-fi also like fantasy.
It just analyzes the viewing habits of millions of people and finds a statistical pattern that users with your viewing history tend to also enjoy this other show.
That's it. It's learning from data, not from pre-programmed instructions.
So we know it's in our phones and streaming services. Where else is AI popping up in our daily lives? I think a lot of people use it without even knowing it. And it's amazing how this learning process mimics, in a very simplified way, how we learn. There are different approaches to it. The cat example is what we call supervised learning, where we give the AI a huge data set with all the correct labels. But there's also unsupervised learning, where we just give it the data and ask it to find any hidden patterns or structures on its own. A great example of this is how streaming services might discover new genres of music just by analyzing what people listen to. And then there's reinforcement learning, where the AI learns by trial and error. It tries something, gets feedback, a reward for a good action, a penalty for a bad one, and adjusts its strategy. This is how AI has mastered complex games like chess and Go.
Oh, absolutely. The spam filter in your email is a classic example of machine learning. It has learned from billions of emails what spam looks like versus what a legitimate message looks like.
Okay, that makes sense. Even though I am a bit puzzled how sometimes very obvious spam still gets through. What about when you're shopping online and you see customers who bought this also bought?
Yep, that's all AI. And the list goes on and on. The autocorrect on your phone, it's using AI to predict the word you want to type. The portrait mode on your phone's camera that blurs the background, that's AI identifying the person and separating them from the background. The spam filter in your email, which we mentioned, has become incredibly sophisticated. The facial recognition that unlocks your phone is another form of AI. When you talk to a customer service chatbot on a website, that's AI. Even the software that helps your bank detect fraudulent transactions is using AI to spot unusual patterns in your spending. It's like a silent partner in so much of our digital lives.
It's really become this invisible utility layer that so many of our modern technologies are built on top of.
That's a great way to put it. It's not a single product you go out and buy. It's a capability that's being integrated into more and more of the tools we already use.
So with this technology becoming so widespread, let's talk about the big picture. What are some of the major benefits, and on the flip side, some of the risks we should be thinking about?
The benefits are genuinely transformative. Think about healthcare. AI is already being used to analyze medical scans like MRIs and X-rays to detect signs of diseases like cancer, often earlier and with more accuracy than the human eye.
Wow, that's incredible.
It really is. In medicine, it's not just about diagnosis. AI is helping to personalize treatments for patients based on their genetic makeup, and it's accelerating the incredibly slow and expensive process of discovering new drugs. And in scientific research, it can analyze enormous data sets to help us model climate change with greater accuracy, explore our universe by sifting through telescope data, and uncover new insights in almost any field. It's also a game changer for accessibility with tools that can narrate the world for the visually impaired or provide real-time captions for the hearing impaired. Plus, on a larger scale, it can optimize complex systems like energy grids and supply chains, making them more efficient and sustainable. And of course, it can automate repetitive or dangerous jobs, freeing up humans for more creative and strategic work.
Okay, but there has to be a but. What are the risks?
There are several big ones we need to manage carefully. Job displacement is a major concern. As AI automates more tasks, what happens to the people who used to do those jobs? That's a huge societal question.
Right. And I've heard a lot about the problem of bias.
Yes, this is critical. An AI system is only as good as the data it's trained on. If you train a hiring AI on decades of data from a company that historically only promoted men, the AI will learn that bias and might discriminate against female candidates.
So it can accidentally reinforce and even amplify existing human biases.
Exactly. And then there are privacy concerns. AI systems, especially machine learning models, need vast amounts of data to work well. We have to ensure our personal data is being collected, used, and stored ethically and securely.
Okay, so this has been a lot to take in. Let's try to summarize the key takeaways for everyone listening. And there's another challenge that researchers are grappling with, sometimes called the black box problem. Some of the most powerful AI models, particularly in deep learning, are so complex that even their creators don't fully understand the reasoning behind their decisions. They get the right answer, but it's hard to trace the steps. This can be a huge problem when we're using AI for critical decisions in areas like loan applications, medical diagnoses, or even criminal justice. If an AI denies someone parole, we need to be able to understand and justify that decision. The same goes for autonomous systems like self-driving cars. If an autonomous car makes a mistake, we need to be able to understand why to prevent it from happening again.
Let's do it. So, in a nutshell, artificial intelligence is the science of making computers smart, giving them abilities like learning, reasoning, and problem solving that we normally associate with human minds.
It's not about building conscious robots, but about creating powerful tools that are highly specialized for specific tasks. It often learns through a process called machine learning, where it finds patterns in enormous amounts of data.
And while AI is already providing huge benefits and is seamlessly integrated into our daily lives, we have to be thoughtful and proactive about managing the risks, like job displacement, data privacy, and algorithmic bias.
It's a truly fascinating field that is going to continue to shape our world in profound ways. And that is all the time we have for today.
Thanks for listening to Curious Minds. We wish you a calm and relaxed Sunday evening, a good start into the upcoming week, and hope to have you with us for the next episode.
Cheers!